Imagine a spiritual pathway that addresses your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. This isn't just an ideal. It's the comprehensive nature of the Goddess Emergence show with Dr. Brie Gibbs, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside of Goddess Bell, the creator, and other masters, will share information never before released on the planet to help guide and evolve humanity, and along the way, heal the four dimensions of body, emotions, mind, and spirituality. This show is about true spirituality, offering a new earth narrative and effective path to well-being as it accelerates the journey of our spiritual evolution to keep pace in this rapidly changing world. Get ready to emerge the goddess within each of us, both the feminine and the masculine. If you have any questions about yourself that you have no answers to, this is the show for you. Let's emerge together and emerge better. Now here is your host, Dr. Brie Gibbs.
Welcome, everybody, to the Goddess Emergence, where we emerge together and emerge better. Today is going to be a little controversial. I will admit this right off. We talked on the previous show about the divine feminine, divine masculine. We went through the pineal gland and the blueprints and everything. And I have a lot more examples I want to talk about that's happening on our planet right now, on this earth, on the third dimension we live on, and why it's happening. So hi, Theresa. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
You ready for the show?
Oh, I'm ready. Yes.
During this great shift of consciousness we're in, and more of the Christ consciousness trickling in into the planet, there's chaos happening. Let's just face it. And there's so many different opinions on this and that. And I wanted to come from the spiritual side of things about divine masculine, divine feminine, and why some men have more of the divine feminine, why some more females have divine more masculine. So I think it's very important that we talk about it and how they evolve and why these agreements were even made. And, when you think about it, I look at it in the way that the creator has us all here perfectly set anyway. Have I ever been a man? One time. That's one thing I could say. And I had to have been a very feminine man. And that's a divine feminine coming into a divine masculine body. And why was that? Because I agreed to it with the creator. And it's part of my spiritual blueprint. What do you think about that?
I think it would be really good to talk a little bit about spiritual blueprints for some of our listeners who may not have heard. What is a spiritual blueprint? I think it's really helpful to understand that, and then we each come in with one.
Right. So here's the thing: is it's in the pineal gland, which is about right here in the center of our head, and that is our blueprint, like a map. Mm-hmm. You're building as an architect, you come up with your blueprints and everything. The same thing that happens with us. We agree to a certain dream. Let's say the creator gives us three choices. You can be this, this, and this. You can go as a god, be the goddess that I decided to come in as a goddess this time and walk in this body and help evolve humanity. And then I went, well, that's something I agreed to. So and along with being the race of the consciousness, I had to come this way. Okay. And you did too. And so I agreed to that. Now, on the other hand, when you fall off the blueprint, also you can, but you stay in your divine feminine or divine masculine body, whichever one you chose to be in. And that's something that people have to understand that on that part. The other part is it's actually really a simple thing when it comes right down to it, what we agreed to do and why. And I go, why are people having such a fit about what we are doing right now? Why can't people just get along? I mean, what else am I going to say, right? Why can't we all just get along and be happy that we're all on this journey together? The spiritual blueprint is very important. When we agree to come here, We connect into that, into the cellular memory also, which brings down like a deja vu feeling. And you go, wait a minute, I remember that. Why is this so familiar to me? Well, because it's all been placed inside of us. Like I had said before, everything we have and what we need is all inside of us. And that blueprint is there to help guide us. And I wonder sometimes if people understand that on those actions of that. It's really not that hard to figure out when it comes right down to it. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I think when you understand that, you do come with, I'll call it a roadmap.
There you go.
It makes it much better. And a lot of times you can get off a roadmap, and sometimes your roadmap might evolve and you might do more things than you thought you were going to do, depending. But it's still a really basic roadmap. But understanding that will help you navigate that better. And it also teaches you a lot more patience and acceptance of maybe what someone else is going through that could be totally different than what maybe you and I are going through. We
Right.
kind of understand our blueprints and
Right.
how we're working together and why we're working together, but maybe not a lot of people do.
That's very true. So I'm going to start off with divine feminine energy, with intuition, nurturing, creativity, acceptance, and emotions.
Yeah.
Why do you think that divine feminine carries all that only? Now, that's what they say. But that, that's what they say. It's the only divine feminine has these qualities. I wonder where they even got that from. Because with my talks with the guide and the creator and everything, it's like, wait a minute, the divine masculine has the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They might not have the goddess energy in them that we're aware of, right? If they're only been maybe a female body one time.
Mm-hmm.
I've met some men that are strongly divine feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to use labels, but they're considered, I don't want to say the word even, I'm just that upset about it. But anyway, they're labeled.
Mm-hmm.
But they are who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And with the divine feminine, when they come in and they come into the body as a female, and they have the divine masculine inside them, they would carry a heavy masculine energy with them. Mm-hmm. And they're labeled, which is wrong. It's all been agreed to by the creator that you decide to come in the way that you did. And I'm talking to our audience that way. Mm-hmm. There's no shame in it. It's who you are. And I want people to understand that today, that this show is about acceptance and love, mm-hmm. and not judging anybody for who they are or what they are. Mm-hmm. And children that are being born right now, or let's just say they're in grade school or teenagers or high school, and they're going through this feeling like, I don't feel right. Mm-hmm. This doesn't feel good on me, these jeans and leather jacket or whatever, right? It doesn't feel right on me, right? As a young man, right? And well, there could be such divine feminine energy in them. Mm-hmm. And then they hide it. They're afraid to tell their parents. They're afraid to talk to anybody about it. And you and I have both been in that situation with people we know.
Right.
And then there's kind of like, how do I approach my parents? Well, I must just tell them. And then they have the reactions of the parents. And if the parents are like understanding and loving, they're going to accept their child for whoever they are. So that's just something. And, and there's a lot of women that I've met that have come in looking as a female and have the divine masculine so strong in them that you look at them and you go, oh no, that's male energy if I ever saw it. And I have some friends that way. And, they're content and happy with who they are. And that's all in their spiritual blueprint they agreed to. So if we look at the strength of the masculine, associative masculine, intuitive strength, action, focus, protection, they have everything we have. They can manifest everything we can manifest. So everything is inside of them also too.
Mhm.
So I wonder how many times we think about this and not look at the balance that they carry inside of them. Now, you're very lucky because you've been a male, divine male, several times,
Mhm.
masculine. Me, no, I can't balance like you could.
Mhm.
And
I'm
pardon me?
I'm old.
Yeah, we're all,
Yeah, I've had a lot of experience balancing this energy, but you're right. We do carry great diversity among each of us by design.
right.
By design. I mean, don't
Yeah,
you
we
think
could.
the goddess love is really acceptance of that, and that's part of what goddess love is.
Well, look at this, Master Jesus.
Yeah.
Master Jesus, divine energy, male
Mhm.
body, carried God's energy in him.
Mhm.
He was with Mary Magdalene. That was his life.
Right.
And his mother loved him very much. His father accepted him.
Mhm.
It was a immaculate exception. We all know that.
Right.
But he was loved no matter what
Mhm.
and took his time and lived long enough to be able to teach us
Right.
love
Yeah, he
and
taught that
compassion.
compassion. Right.
And where do you think a lot of our healing techniques came from?
Right.
That we were graced to have brought on the earth plane.
Mhm.
So you can't judge that. At least I'm not willing to judge it.
Not either. There's some wonderful masters who have come to teach us,
Buddha, Master
Buddha,
Buddha,
right? Compassion, wisdom,
love,
different things.
understanding.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was not presented from a maybe gender point of view. It was just from uh,
Hmm.
I'm a human being point of view. I'm a
Right,
divine being.
right. So, when you think back, I mean, I have a statue of Buddha in here, a statue of the Triple
Mhm.
Gods and Kuan Yin, and pictures of Master Jesus up here, and other ones that I, it's not, they're not idols to me. They just represents from what I come from
Mhm.
and you come from. You
Right.
got a very special Buddha behind you,
Yes,
you
we
know,
do.
and so Buddha is a path to enlightenment also.
Right.
So it's not always following what we do. There's other types of it, paths to enlightenment. And the one that I recommend when you first start out is Buddhism.
Mhm.
One of the great masters
Mhm.
to help us all. So we're going to take a break in a couple minutes, but that's the one thing I really want to talk about. So I'll go back to the agreement one more time. When we are given these choices to come back, yes, we can say no. Um, and we can say, that doesn't feel quite right for me. I'm not willing to do this. And the creator will accept it. You want to argue a little bit with you? Oh, come on, you can do it. I happen to pick out every time the hardest choice. I don't know why, but I do. But it's in the blueprint and I'm proud of it. And I'm going to stay with my journey that I'm here to do. I think that people need to understand one more thing, that this show today is a little controversial, but it was something that just me talked about. And we're going to talk about it some more in a few minutes. We're going to take a quick break. Back with Theresa Knight and the Goddess Emerges. Hi, everyone. We're back. During the break, Trisha and I were talking, and there's a lot of different notes I have while you see me looking to the side, but I want to talk about acceptance. There's so much happening right now, and accepting every energy that they exist in each one of us. That is not a hard thing to do. What do you think, Trisha?
I agree. If you can accept that, don't you think a lot of the harsh words and the pushing and shoving kind of go by the wayside?
They
And if we
would.
don't do that, we might not quit doing that.
Right. And, being in the great shift of consciousness, and as we're evolving on the planet right now with the Christ consciousness trickling in every day, more and more and more, right? That's the one thing that the creator and a lot of our guides and angels are looking for. Are we going to accept people for who they are? The one thing I want to bring up, I'm not a real political person, you know that, but I'm seeing so many people right now that are feeling judged, that are moving to different countries because they don't feel accepted anymore. And I'm not talking about the president and all that. I'm just saying how they emotionally feel.
Mhm.
And I watched an interview of one person that had moved out of the country, and I just wanted to cry. It was like for them, not for me, but for them, because they did not feel accepted.
Mhm.
And they're who they are and agreed to come here to be. And they brought joy, so much joy to many of us. I'm not going to name a couple of the people I know that have done this. And I don't know the person just watching the interview. And it's like, I can't. It's my own spirituality. As a licensed broadcaster, I can, but my own faith, no. But I think that when you look at what they have gone through and made that harsh decision to leave so they can live peacefully,
Mhm.
it's really sad. That's not what the creator wanted us to do, is have to run from where we are living for them to be who they are.
Mhm.
On a personal note, Teresa, you know for a fact that you know somebody
Mhm.
that has had to run
Right.
from that. Can you explain a little bit without getting right into the meat of it?
Um, anytime you have to drastically change anything, a lot of times it's out of fear. And so as I think about it, and we all have situations, the people that we know that have had to do some drastic things and because they felt like they didn't have a choice. But I think it's important to deep dive that and say, why is that? Is it that we don't know how to love ourselves? Because really in the end it is truly about love, or I mean we kind of only know a certain kind of love here on this planet right now, right? And that's sort of the possessive romantic kind of love, but we're talking about that here. We're talking about goddess love that says, if I don't start with me, how can I expect to feel differently or anybody else? How can I expect to have any kind of impact if I don't have my own self-love and self-respect and worthiness? And so, you and I have spent a number of years on this subject, but I'm thinking as I watch people take these drastic actions, and some friends of mine and friends of yours, you do feel bad, but you say, what's the root cause of that? How can we begin to change that?
The root cause, first of all, is judgment, which
Mhm.
we have no right to judge anybody. And no one has a right to judge yourselves either.
Mhm.
Only the creator has that right when it comes right down to it. How can we soften it? You know, love.
Mhm.
And that does not mean physical love. I'm talking spiritual love. We all have it in us. The men have it in them, women have it in them. If you're willing to break down that hardness and that shell that you put on around you or inside of you, if you can break it down and say, okay, enough for yourself, first of all, I'm going to quit being this harsh. I'm going to quit judging people enough to love them. And then I'm going to also break it down for myself and love
Mhm.
myself for who I am.
Don't you think it starts there?
First of all, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I may have said that backwards, but there was a reason that I said that because
Mhm.
I want people to hear me today.
Mhm.
We do not have that right to judge.
Right. Do you
Um,
think judgment is fear?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Can you talk a little bit on that? Because that's kind of a new concept for people. What do you mean fear? Why is judgment fear?
Why is judgment fear?
Mhm.
Because you're not really willing to release your old patterns,
Mhm.
plain and simple. Um, it's like when I found out I was diabetic, fear kicked in immediately. And then went, wait a minute, I am going to fix this problem now.
Mhm.
Okay. I had to fix that first before I could help anybody. Right. So I took that time off to work on me. So when you're breaking down that fear, are you afraid of looking at something that's truthful about you, or is somebody in your life causing this fear?
Mhm.
And why? And somebody is able to cause that fear in you, you're
Mhm.
able to push it right back
Mhm.
and say, wait a minute, I didn't do this. I didn't accept this fear. Take it back. You're getting it back.
Mhm.
You know, and so fear can cause so much, and your own ego can cause fear. That's why I have a filter around my ego,
Mhm.
because the ego could say, oh, you're in trouble. This is all going to be blamed on you for what you just said to that person. But were you speaking your truth? Yeah, if you're speaking your truth, you're not going to be in trouble. The, so, like I have said, take your ego for a walk, push it out of your body and send it out in the yard. I did one day because I wanted to have a conversation with somebody. So I threw the ego out in the yard for a little bit.
Mhm.
And, and I loved it when I had the show with Pia Corling,
Uh-huh.
and how Colin said they take their ego for a walk
Right.
around the block. Well,
Mhm.
sometimes the ego needs to go around the block a few
Mhm.
times.
Out
And
in the
so,
backyard for a while.
no kidding, go out there and stay out there. The thing that fear can do is also stop you from what you want to do in life on your journey. So
Very
yes,
limiting.
yeah, and you don't want to limit yourself for any reason.
Mhm.
I could say, okay, I'm talking about subjects I've never talked about before. I've kept quiet.
Mhm.
And you know what? Fear didn't sneak in. I got really excited. So I'm going to do this show today, no matter what.
Mhm.
So, does that answer the question I want to talk about
It
for you?
does. Well, thank you.
Okay. So, the other thing is when we agree to come in, I know it's going to suck, sorry. When we agree to come into the spy that we're all in, no matter if you're a janitor, or a hostess, or like Emily, our producer today, we all have a job to do. And I think that if we slow down enough and look at the jobs that we're doing, whether it's our spiritual work, whether it's our daily work, like me cleaning the house to take care of the dogs, you know, that are
Mhm.
quiet right now, locked up in a bedroom, um, you know, and your life with you and your husband and
Mhm.
your family. I think it's really important that we look at that. We say, okay, let's slow down enough to take a look at ourselves also, but also slow down enough to look at the problems and how we can fix things in our life.
No, I agree. I think slowing down is really critical. And when you do, you somehow can see a problem differently,
Mm-hmm.
and you can stop long enough to pull the pieces out and deal with any fear instead of having kind of a knee-jerk reaction, which just sometimes repeats a pattern you don't want to repeat. So slowing down, I think, is one of the things you and I've learned a lot in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
How valuable that really is, so that you can have that time. And it doesn't have to consume your day. You just slow down, and then you start enjoying things, because you slow down enough, that's a form of love.
Yes.
You're
Self
for
love.
yourself. Absolutely.
And, and when you slow down, you have time for others also then.
Yes. It's amazing how much more time you have.
Right. You know, I woke up this morning, got everything done I had to get done today. And now we're on the air now. And it's like, when I'm done, what do I get to do? I get to take time for myself today
Mhm.
because I had everything ready. We worked hard the last few days on this show.
Mhm.
And, and then having I had a doctor's appointment earlier and I got back, talked to somebody for a little bit and talked to you and here we are. And but we slowed down enough to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And that is accepting us for who each one of us are.
Mhm.
Take that time. So let's get back to the one thing I do want to talk about right now is Master Jesus taught us love, compassion, and faith. And we have 1 minute for the break. So I want to think about that for a minute. Love, compassion, and faith. Something was said to me, and we're going to talk about this one, come back. Trust, believe, and do not second guess your decisions. And every time I second guess my decision, I've been in trouble. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Teresa and I and God's Emergence. We'll emerge together and emerge better. Welcome back, everyone. So Teresa and I were talking about this about messages taught us love, compassion, and faith. I'm going to get back to part of faith. Having faith is believing in yourself, believing in others, no matter what the situation may be. But you may believe in others that have other opinions, have done things that hurt you. But can you correct that? Yes, you can. By speaking your truth and staying in truth and staying in the light is the way you can correct it. Showing love and compassion during a hard situation. What I want to say about that is show the love and if you're going through a hard situation right now, show the love and compassion to yourself first and embrace it and hold on to it as tight as you can. I mean, you have to take 2 fists and go, I'm going to embrace this and hold on to it. That's what I want you to do. Because that's the one thing that we taught. Master Buddha spoke of compassion and wisdom. First of all, compassion for yourself and others is so important. So if you have someone in your life that has come and said, I may be in this body of a young man, but I feel more like a woman. Have compassion, please. No, you do not know the spiritual blueprint as a parent, even. You don't have that privilege to know. And that's kind of harsh to say, but that's so true. And so when you have compassion for that child or young adult, you're holding the compassion and love that you've been taught by the great masters inside of you. So, Teresa, what do you think about that part?
Well, I think any way that you would choose to be treated, you should treat others. That's just basic things we've learned and we forget frequently.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep coming back to Goddess love because to me, it says, I see you, I hear you, I'm here for you. Whoever you are, whatever you have come to do and to experience and to evolve and how you came to help,
Right.
it's all valuable. And,
You
and
know,
we just have to remember that.
correct. We've gone through our own trials that we had to go through and experiences. And we always go, why did we have to go through this? Was it in our blueprint? Yes, it was.
Mhm.
And I remember till I was about 45, 46, I went through so much.
Mhm.
And I thought, can I handle it anymore? Did I want to leave the earth plane several times? Yes. Did the creator let me? No, because I had a job to do here. I've said that more to him than you can imagine. Please take me home. I've had enough. Well, I'd wake up the next morning. I'm still here. Okay, so I'm still here. So there's a reason why. So when you find that compassion for yourself inside of you,
Right.
you know what you're supposed to do next. So when you have all these difficulties coming at you at one time right now, Why do you think that could be happening, Theresa?
Well, I think for me, it's a good reminder that says, stop and slow down. These are things that we have agreed to maybe experience and to learn from. And for some of us, maybe to master some of these things so that we help others. Because the more that we can learn these skills and have this understanding, the more we help ourselves, the more we can help others. Slow down is a huge thing, at least right now for me.
You're right. And the other thing is, a lot of times in our 40s,
Mhm.
here's the one thing when you hit about 45, everything that you believed in people,
Mhm.
okay, sometimes comes crashing down.
Oh yeah.
The glass house comes down. They threw too many rocks.
Mhm.
Their glass house comes down and you catch them all.
Mhm.
And was that in your blueprint? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And you have to take that and take it and pick it apart and look at every part of it, no matter what it is.
Mhm.
And
Because
so,
when you do that, you learn so much about yourself,
mhm,
and you're always stronger than you think you are.
that's right. It's not even saying I'm better than that. I am
No,
stronger than this and I
stronger
can
than you are.
handle it.
Mhm.
Um, I have a young woman in my life that has gone through a lot and she's learning a lot of lessons right now. And she has evolved a lot right now.
Mhm.
And that's what we're doing on the planet right now. With all the chaos that's happening, this planet is evolving.
Mhm.
The third dimension is evolving into a higher level every day. And so, before we go through the great shift of consciousness fully, we're going to see all this chaos happening right now. People not accepted. You know, they're this person or that kind of person. They came from this country or that country. So if we go back and we look at where we originated from. So with me, I can take myself all the way back to the Egyptian times. Sorry, guys, that's the truth. I know you could take yourself far back.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so, but because I look like this in this lifetime and was born here, right? This is who I am now.
Mhm.
And I'm accepted. Um, when I was a man, was I accepted? At this time, I would not have been
Right.
in a female body. So this is one thing. So accepting everything that's new and what is not new. I want to get to that. What we're talking about today is not new. This has been going on for centuries and lifetimes, but it was hidden behind a door that got slammed shut and kept very quiet. Now, does these relationships, I'm gonna ask you Teresa, the question since I have everybody else here, so I'm gonna ask you this.
Ask away.
All right. Do these kind of relationships that are happening right now happen on the other side?
Absolutely.
Think.
Absolutely. I think we have this illusion that things are so different, but we are evolving no matter what form we're in.
That's right.
And no matter where we're at, our soul is ever growing and evolving.
True.
Now that may
That,
be very new information.
and it is. As so, um, as we say on the other side, there is no judgment there. They have their opinions just like we do.
Mhm.
So, the alternative world we have an Earth here right now. We don't talk that much about it, so I'm just trying to say it right now. So, on the other side of a higher level dimension with the Creator, it's remarkable. It's just the earth is clean. Love is there no matter who they are and what gender they may be. It does not matter. They evolved in their consciousness. And that's where all of this needs to take place, is in the consciousness, not in the body, not in your ego. I say that a little strongly, but it's true. No matter who they are. And this is not even on, I'm not even talking gender. I'm talking about, it could be your neighbor across the street. That's a mother with 6 kids, and, or, your neighbors, Theresa, our friends that we know, they evolve at their own rate, not what we want or what the creator works in, their guides, their angels, the masters work with them. And, it's like, they don't have a right to judge anyone. This whole program is about judgment when it comes right down to it. Let's just say I gained 50 pounds back. Don't judge me because I gained 50 pounds back, which I'm not, better not, but I'm just saying.
No, I don't think you will.
No, no. But don't judge me for who I am. And that's the same thing with other people. Do not judge them. There's too much judgment happening on the planet right now. And I want to lighten it up now. And this is what I want to say. They can judge whoever they want. But this person here, Dr. Brie, is not going to judge. I'm going to love you no matter what. I don't care who you are, man, woman, whatever. A puppy down the street I haven't met that needs a hug, I see. That's what I'm about. And Theresa, you're the same way.
We're all in this together. We will never coexist as one. If we don't change how we think about it and deal with our own fears that cause these sort of outward manifestations of what we are seeing as chaos and confusion in the world.
Right.
Yes.
And so, with all the chaos and confusion in the world, do we have to accept it? No. I won't. It's happening, but I won't accept it. Because if I accept it, it comes in my body.
That's right.
And I'm not letting any negative or lower vibration affect this body. This body and who I am belongs to the creator.
That's right.
And if you think I'm going to damage that and how is it, damage and disappoint the creator for who I am, no, I will not. What do you think about that? We got about a minute left.
Well, that's holding your light and honoring all. We are all part of the divine.
Yes.
No matter what we've done, what we're doing, we are all part of the divine. And
I think
respect that you do not honor that.
That's right. And, I think that's a good closing statement. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk more about exactly what Theresa just said about honoring the divine. We'll see you back in a few minutes. Theresa and the Goddess Emergence. Welcome back, everyone. So, Theresa, we're talking about honoring the divine. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I think if you can remember who you are, I don't mean the details of previous life, you just remember you're part of the divine, you're a divine spark. That will help you keep the fear out of you. And when we're all afraid of things, we do strange things, not very nice. So it is just a good reminder, especially when you see things and events and stuff that are so different than what you are. You look different, everything about it is different, and maybe you haven't been around that kind of an experience before. All the more reason to remember the value of and respect for the diversity we have, because it's without the judgment, it's a pretty fun world.
It is.
Can be a pretty fun, beautiful world.
And you're actually right about that. If we look at things in light
Mhm,
and we take away that veil away from everyone,
mhm.
whether they have a dark veil around them or whatever, right? Take that veil off or in front of our eyes, move it out of the way, which a lot of us can do that. And anybody can do that if they want to, right?
Mm.
And they see the truth in things. Have you ever thought that people on, let's see, that are looking for wealth, that are looking for notoriety, whether they're looking for all this stuff, is that really fear in them?
Well, very possible. Is
Hmm?
that a lack of love?
Yes.
Is it a lack of worthiness and acceptance that I keep looking for these external things instead of going inside of me?
It can be depending on
Can
the
be.
situation.
Can
So
be.
there's okay, so people that we have that are actors. I'm gonna use this for an example.
Mhm.
It's in their blueprint. They came here to entertain people and to be who they are. Okay.
And
Now,
bless them for that.
no kidding, because
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I'm sitting here
Couldn't
trying to be
either.
serious right now, and I want to laugh my butt off right now because people are going, Dr. Reed's talking about this today. Yeah, I am. So they bring us entertainment, like Star Trek or whatever. I'm old. Come on, let's just think about these shows back in the 70s and all the different ones, right? So they brought us entertainment. But when anybody gets that point of to pursue more,
Mhm,
they need to look at why.
mhm.
And when there's nothing wrong with pursuing more, but when you bring people around you, you want to make sure they're on the same spiritual vibration or emotional vibration you are on.
Mhm,
So no, there's nothing wrong with that.
mhm.
If I say this okay, there have been people around me that my sweater's irritating me today. Sorry, but there's been people around me that I've done things with and went, no, this is not for me. And you're aware of one of Teresa
Right.
from a
Mhm,
long time ago, 10 years ago. And I had to get away from those people.
mhm,
It was a toxic relationship that was not of the divine energy.
mhm,
And so I packed up my stuff and started all over again.
mhm.
And that sometimes you have to just
Yeah.
pack up your suitcases, go home, and start over again. And that's by break, breaking the walls down and then bringing it back up in the
Mhm,
light that you want your energy, your reputation, your life known as. And that's part of being in the light.
mhm. And
I
sometimes
think,
you do have to get away because maybe you need to work on some your own self-healing too.
yes,
Yeah, which is, I think, a lot of that going on right now.
right. So, why do you think we take the trips to Hawaii we do?
Well, that's why.
And once it's the highest spiritual vibration we can get, unless you want to go to Sedona. We happen to like Hawaii,
Hmm.
you know, and so you have to get away sometimes
Right.
and spend some quiet time.
Hmm.
Our favorite place is the Kahala that we like to stay at.
We do like that.
And the
Yes.
ninth floor, room 909. I mean, I love that room because it's all completion.
Right.
Ninth floor completion, 909, 18th completion. And so
Hmm.
I stay in that room for a reason.
Hmm.
And the dolphins are there and all the things that we're trying to do to bring more life into ourselves
Right.
and be able to communicate with the ancient Lemurians and the ancient Hawaiians
Hmm.
and what they have brought to the planet so it can help us evolve.
Hmm.
I think that if we look at things that way, it can be a lot easier.
Hmm. Well, and I
Um,
think it helps you a lot too to sort of find or be able to find some kind of common ground with people that when when your opinions are so different. Doesn't mean they're bad, they're just different. You know,
Right.
how you begin to sort of respect that. And if you can stay in that light, hold that light, and remember that everything, not just the human beings walking on this planet, everything is of a divine nature.
Right.
You would not destroy anything.
No, you would not. So a question came in and we only got like 5 minutes left. I want to answer this one.
Okay.
Doesn't the pursuing of personal gain, wealth, and power often supersede, sorry about that, any condition of the divine? What do you think, Theresa? We got 3 minutes.
Well, okay, so money or abundance is a tool. It's
Mhm.
just a tool. And there's nothing wrong with it. And when used in the highest of light, it's fabulous. But if it is used, my opinion, if it is used to manipulate, control, or addict, you're not in the light.
Right.
That's
So
it.
no, in this question that was sent to me personally, there is nothing wrong with the pursuing of personal gain.
Absolutely not.
You know, personal gain, you have to look at it a different way. If you're doing it to do it for the right reasons, it's not personal gain. If you're doing it for the wrong reason, it is.
Especially if you're doing it to help everyone, and it's very inclusive.
Right. Right.
Those are very noble causes.
Right. So I wish I had more time on this one. I end up with another show. I got 2 minutes left. So what I want to say on this subject, because I know who this person is, what this person has done, he did it to help himself, the world especially, and this planet. And when certain destructive behaviors come in, it's time to, that glass house broke. It's time to clean it up and start that foundation over again.
Right.
And it's one of the hardest things you have to do. You've had to do it. I've had to do it.
It takes great courage.
Yes. But we all have that courage.
Yes, we do.
And I know that this person has enough courage, enough backing behind what this person is doing to rebuild that foundation. And that's one thing I want to say. And,
anytime you're rebuilding a foundation, you're always going to have chaos and confusion. That's to be expected. But find your courage and find your strength, and you'll make it.
No kidding. No kidding. We have 1 minute left. So I'm a God, with the goddess Emergence was named this way by the creator. And has anybody thought the goddess is in that crater? In the crater? People need to think about that. Where did this all come from, first of all? The creator. And right now, many people are struggling. So if we can help in any way, you can reach me at drbriegibbs.com. You reach Theresa at alchemyofgoddesses.com. And we have a 15-minute discussion that's free for everyone that you can talk with us via Zoom and decide whether or not you want to work with us. We cut our prices way down because of how the economy is right now. So please understand that we are here for you and we'll consider being here for you as long as we can. So God's blessings, everyone. And thank you for listening to God's Emergence, where we emerge together and emerge better. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Goddess Emergence Show with Dr. Brie Gibbs. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to experience Spiritual Pathway that addresses your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. This isn't just an ideal. It is the comprehensive nature of the Goddess Emergence Show with Dr. Brie, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside the Goddess Bell and the Creator, offer messages from the masters never shared or released on the planet. Beyond the show, Dr. Brie offers individual and group sessions at drbriegibbs.com. That's drbriegibbs.com. We hope to see you next time.